one morning a few weeks before Easter in an adult Sunday school class. During the gathering time, as usual, the people all came together and they were drinking coffee and tea and chatting together informally. And then suddenly someone asked, "What are you all giving up for Lent?" People started to talk about that question. Some took it very seriously and told what they were doing, and others, well, they took it very lightly. They made some jokes and some wisecracks about it and kind of brushed the question aside. But then, one woman who had just gone through a painful divorce said something very powerful. She said, "I've decided this Lent to give up being unhappy. I'm going to give up being unhappy for Lent." That comment gives us a lot to think about. It makes some sense that if we are going to give up something for Lent as a spiritual discipline, why not pick something that is a hard spot in our lives? Or some might say, why not give up something bad? Something that we might need to get out of our life, maybe even permanently. Why not pick something that spiritually we would be a whole lot better without? Why not choose certain acts or attitudes or habits or sins that have the power to contaminate us or infect us, or even go so far as to say poison our soul? Why not give up one of those for Lent? It's really a very biblical idea, isn't it? Remember, Jesus said to the disciples that they should deny themselves and take up their cross and follow him. Or we might say it another way. Get rid of those things in your life that prevent you from walking where Jesus would lead you. Get rid of those things in your life that are not Christ-like. Why not intentionally decide, with the help of God, to put our energy and our efforts into ridding ourselves of something that is destructive in our lives? Something like envy or jealousy or self-pity? What about procrastination or gossip or apathy or negative thinking? Or what about closed-mindedness or putting oneself first? Or perhaps you can just keep adding on to the list. So why not intentionally decide to get rid of these things in our lives? I think the why not is that we are afraid. We are often afraid to take that kind of change. Fear can be so strong within us, and very closely related are anxiety and stress. And our fears can be either clearly known to us or sometimes they are yet to be discovered. It may be something like a compulsive desire for perfection in our work or our school or our sports teams. Along with the anxiety and stress that it produces, it may be that those are fueled by a fear of failure. Or for parents, the anxieties for the safety and success of children arise in part from the fear that as parents, we cannot make everything in their life just right. Or it may be that our constant need for control in our lives comes from the fear that our lives may not turn out just the way we want, or that we have to face uncertainties that we cannot control. Or perhaps it's the belief that we need to be strong, that may be reacting to our fear of experiencing our true feelings, or allowing others to come into our needs and our dreams. Or maybe we're just too busy and too scheduled so that we don't take time to address our fears and challenges or our deep spiritual yearning. I invite us on this particular day in Lent to just take a moment and contemplate your own experience of fear or anxiety or stress. As you think about it today and during this Lenten season, you might even want to do an exercise of writing down the words fear, anxiety, stress on a piece of paper, and reflect for yourself what causes those feelings or emotions for you. And what connections do you see between these emotions and their causes? And when you're doing this reflecting, in this moment today and in the days to come, pause. Hit the pause button for just a moment. And hear the words of the psalmist. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the stronghold of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? I believe that I shall see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. Wait for the Lord. Be strong, and let your heart take courage. Take courage. It is true that we live in a world that is filled to the brim with broken relationships, with personal disappointments, public scandals, political games, cultural disrespect, terrorist threats. There is a lot that we can choose to worry about. And at times we even may reach a place in our lives of comfortable, to the point of needing a reminder that our hope is in God and not just ourselves. Each of us, each and every one of us, have our own fears and pains and disappointments. And we can honestly say, this is part of life. It is to all of us, in all of our circumstances, that Psalm 27 speaks. When we are scared, when we are uncertain about our future, we hear the words, take courage. Real fear lives alongside honest faith. Bona fide doubt holds hands with genuine trust. Both fear and faith insist that we take God seriously. We are invited to open our minds and our hearts to the presence of God in our lives. Ask God real questions. Listen with our open minds and hearts. And depend upon God in tangible ways. One of the ways that we open our hearts and minds to the presence of God is right here. Right here. In this place, all are welcome, with all of our fears our struggles. We come together in our community of faith where we are allowed and taught to talk honestly and openly. We connect with one another in authentic ways. We offer a safe place to bring our fears. And each and every one of us provide opportunity for people to share the experience of God together in study, in worship, in prayer, in the opportunities that we do together to deepen our spiritual growth. It is here in this place that we may offer an honest prayer and engage together in open conversation. And it is here where we reach out and offer our support to one another to take courage. Oh, and by the way, if this is not your experience here in this community of faith, then perhaps we as the church also have some hard spots and attitudes to examine, and maybe even to give up, so that all may experience the love and grace of God through us. This Lent, today, every day, take courage to give up some of the hard spots in your life. Take courage to face your fears. Take courage and know that you are not alone in this journey. Take courage and receive the hope and promise of God to be with you as you change and as you grow. For when we take that courage to bring our fears and our faith together, we just may experience a new life. When we take the courage to develop our spiritual practices that make both our fear and our faith meaningful, then we may learn some new lessons. We may develop skills that help us navigate our pain. Surely we will gain perspective. And perhaps, just perhaps, we may even experience the world differently. After all, those who take courage to gaze deeply at fear and faith and all of life generally are the ones who have eyes to see and ears to hear and see those things that often we miss. When we take the courage to gaze deeply at our fear and faith, we will see differently. We may even turn a corner and see abundance before scarcity. Or we'll reach a milestone and recognize grace before loss. We notice what is easily overlooked every day, but also recognize what is given to us each day. We do not minimize pain or injustice, and we know the power of trust and the benefit even of doubt and questions in bringing out the best in others and in ourselves. And based on who we keep discovering God to be, we proclaim the word that all need to hear. The Lord is my light and my salvation. The Lord is the stronghold of my life. Take courage. Why not give up some of the hard spots in our lives for Lent? Why not give up something bad in Lent with the hope and the prayer that if we can give up that bad thing for 40 days, then maybe, just maybe, God can give us the strength to give it up forever. Take courage to take experience in your life, or a new perspective, or a new commitment. And always know that God is with you, strengthening you, supporting you, loving you, and calling you and me and all of us together to be all that we can be. Take courage and know that God is here. Thanks be to God. Amen.